we allow it to pass through the filter that we have discussed in the DSBSC case also, isn't it? Is
Yes,
it
sir. The
okay?
impedance detection part is okay, sir. But you use a
And
peak rectifier
for
below.
that, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thing I want to tell you that if you want to use the rectifier, or basically you have to use the diode as a demodulator, then in that case we cannot use the COM-SIM, but instead we can use another software, multi-SIM section of that. There we have the electronic components available. Is it okay, Harshvardhan?
Yes, sir.
So actually it is about the, what are the tools available with the software. So accordingly we can design. So mathematical tools are not available in the multi-sim. There we have the electronic tools, whereas in the com-sim we have the mathematical blocks and we don't have the electronic blocks. This is the issue. Okay. Anyhow. Now today we are going to talk about the amplitude modulation. So Harshvardhan, my question was there. Can you tell me the uh, amplitude? What is the equation we are using for amplitude modulation for the single tone signal?
Sir, I don't have idea about single tone signal, sir. I know the basic AM signal.
Okay, okay. Tell me what is that?
Sir, we use specially we take a MFT into C of t, sir. So we have a message signal AM into cos omega t plus AC whole bracket will be there, sir. Then we have cos 2 pi FCT.
Okay, which book you refer? Lathi.
Yes, sir. Actually,
Okay, yeah, you are right. In Lathi, it is mentioned like that. So it's okay. That's a textbook. But if you follow the Simon Higgins there, or other types of also books are there. So there we have the term amplitude sensitivity factor. Because if you talk about the modulation index, for that the concept of amplitude sensitivity factor is required, and then we write it like AC 1 plus within bracket K into MT. So MT should be multiplied by Ka, and K is the amplitude sensitivity factor, and the value of K should be such that MT into K. MT, when I'm talking about the magnitude of master signal, instantaneous magnitude of the master signal. So whatever value of master signal you will take, okay, because it is a random signal for any instant of time. So we can say it is AM for an example. So the product of the amplitude of the master signal and K should have value less than 1, right? It means what? It means that the value of K should be very less, 0.00 something, so that when you multiply the master signal with it, the value have to be less than 1. Then if we add it with 1, we'll have the value in the positive half. So what is the reason behind that? The reason is that, see, I told you that the envelope of the modulated signal, the idea is that, please try to concentrate, all of you. The envelope of the modulated signal, envelope, should be positive, only positive, no negative. Master signal may have negative components, but the overall envelope have to be positive. So envelope have to be positive means what? When you multiply this cosine signal with within bracket 1 plus kmt, so that have to be a positive value. And that is possible if and only if the value of k into mt will have value less than 1. If it will be 1, there was some disconnection, network disconnection. So if suppose the value of mt is minus, some negative value is there, so k into mt can have value minus 1. If it is minus 1, the maximum possible value, if it is minus 1, then minus 1, and what is the equation? 1 1 and minus 1 will be equal to 0. To avoid that thing, it is decided that k into mt value have to be less than 1. So now if the k into mt value is less than 1, even if it is a positive value or the negative value, whatever value it is having, that is, I'm talking about the absolute value, I'm not talking about then within mod, right? So if it is less than 1, then obviously 1 plus kmt, whatever condition, whether the kmt is positive value or a negative value, whatever condition, the result will be positive only. result will be positive only. Okay, so then your overall envelope will be positive only. So that is the reason why your K into empty value have to be less than 1. That is known as the modulation index, M, right? So that thing is also mentioned in the Simon-Higgins. You can refer or maybe have discussed in your theory class also, I expect. So this is your amplitude modulation equation. So what we write, please note down. It is मंडल सर एक कॉपी है कागज basically I just want to tell that if suppose ST we are writing for the amplitude modulation, then it have to be EC into 1 plus K into M of t cos of twice by FCT. It can also be written as AC cos of twice by FCT into 1 plus K into M of t, or it can be CT into 1 plus K into M of t. Now here this K is actually amplitude sensitivity factor. Okay, I hope it is visible to you.
Sir, please can you lift the phone a little bit at the top because we are seeing a zoom thing.
Is it okay? Okay, anyhow, you are actually very much familiar with this equation. I just want to recall. Okay, and here one more thing I would like to say that this, as I told, that this value of K into MT, this value is actually Ka into, say, Am is the amplitude of the massive signal, okay, at any instant of time, amplitude of massive signal. So this will be your modulation index M. And this have to be, that is K into AM mod I'm talking about, absolute value I'm talking about, this have to be, this particular have to be less than 1. This have to be less than 1. Okay, this modulation index have to be less than 1. Okay, so if anybody is having any query, please let me know quickly. If you want, I can upload the, as I told, that if anybody, if you feel that you need to discuss, feel free to tell me. Okay, we can have a discussion over that. So now I would like to show you the, first of all I will show you the block diagram. Okay, and then I'll show you the setup, and then slowly we'll move towards the setup and see how we are going to perform the experiment. So yeah.
I had a request.
Yeah, please ask.
Sir, could you please upload the lab manual regarding the experiment?
Yeah, of course. Lab manual you are talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you the lab manual. I know it will be required. I'll show you, don't worry. Okay. Thing is that I will have to handle this through the mobile phone because you know it is more flexible. So it is difficult to handle like a laptop. So this is the issue. So this is the setup diagram. block diagram for this one. Here, one by one, we'll see what are the things. So you know that for any modulator, you need carrier signal and the master signal. Okay, and the carrier signal should be a high frequency signal.
Sir, it is not visible.
That's what then. Are you saying something?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's not visible, sir.
Not visible.
Means, sir, it's very
Not
close, sir.
visible. Clearly visible or not visible at all?
Sir, it's visible, sir, but it's very close, sir. The diagram, like the half of it is coming on the screen.
Only half I am showing at this moment. See, this is the overall diagram. Okay.
Yes.
Now I am showing you section wise.
Yes.
Okay. So this is first section. This is the carrier signal. Okay. So basically, carrier signal, you know, should be a high frequency signal. Okay. For that, we are using the oscillator because you know oscillator is a device that generates a signal without providing any input. It is the basic source, right? So the thing is that if you have the oscillator that can generate a particular frequency signal, it's a simple oscillator. But if you want an oscillator that can generate signal of more than one frequency, then it is a voltage controlled oscillator. Now, why the name voltage controlled oscillator? Because if it is able to provide you the signal of more than one frequency, then in that case, definitely some control is required to select that which particular frequency signal you want to generate. So accordingly, a control signal is sent. Basically, you know, as you have already discussed in your previous semester, a DC signal, okay, of a particular amplitude is sent. So accordingly, it is decided that the oscillator is going to generate which frequency signal. So anyhow, so here you have two group, 1 to 100 kilohertz, and the lower one from 0.1, you can see 0.1 to 1 kilohertz, and then 1 to 100 kilohertz. So this is the two options and the variation. The oscillator can generate signal from 0.1 to 100 kilohertz signal. Okay, this particular VCO, voltage control oscillator, and it is the source of the carrier signal. Okay, and then we have, sorry, okay, it was a mistake. This is I have shown you wrong. This one. This one is the carrier signal. So you have option from 500 to 1500 kilohertz, basically high frequency as I told. Okay, and this what I have shown you there. This is the massive signal. So the massive signal can be from 0.1 to 100 kilohertz. Now the idea is that your massive signal, as I told, is random in nature. Random means it can have any amplitude at any frequency, right? Any shape it can have. That consists of so many single frequency signals. So to make it random, to make the massive signal random intentionally, what we'll do, we'll change the value here. We'll change the knob here. Okay. And when we change the knob, so accordingly, at different instant of time, manually we can do that. We can generate a signal from 0.1 to 100 kilohertz, and it will have different magnitude. For that, we have separate knob. So by changing the knob, we can change the frequency and respectively the amplitude. And so we'll have the variation in the massive signal, right? Because this is the intentionally we want to have a varied massive signal, random massive signal. And this is the carrier signal, right? So we have two options here, 500 kilohertz or 1500 kilohertz. For that we have jumper. If we select this one, it will generate 500 kilohertz. If we set here, it will generate 1500 kilohertz. So if you see this one, the massive signal is maximum value is 100 kilohertz, maximum value, whereas it is having 500 kilohertz. So if you compare 0.1 kilohertz or 1 kilohertz or 100 kilohertz with respect to the carrier signal 500 kilohertz, so you can see that massive signal is low frequency signal, whereas this carrier signal is a high frequency signal, right? So these two will be the input for the modulator, your modulator. The name written here, balanced modulator. Okay, basically we are using the amplitude modulator section of this one. So we are going to use the amplitude modulator. Okay, this is the amplitude modulator, name written here, balanced modulator. This is the amplitude modulator, and this is the output point of this one. So what we'll do, we'll first check the behavior of the massive signal. We'll check the behavior of the carrier signal. So we know MT, we know CT. Accordingly, we can predict what will be the value of the amplitude modulated signal. And so we'll check here the amplitude modulated signal. This is the idea. Okay. So this is the overall diagram. Then we should know what is the expected outcome, graphical view, right? So now this is the graphical view. First of all, we'll have the message signal. So this is your message signal. Here it is a single tone signal. Single tone signal means we have single frequency signal. Okay, single sinusoidal signal. If we talk multi-tone signal, it means what? We have any random signal consists of so many frequencies. So when I am saying single tone, it means nothing special. I am talking about a simple sinusoidal input signal, right? So this is the message signal we'll generate with the help of the I've shown you the block. This is the message signal. This is the carrier signal, which is again a sinusoidal high frequency signal. That's why it looks like this. It is a very high frequency. So when it is high frequency, time period will be less and it will closely spaced. So that's why it looks like this. So message signal is what? Low frequency signal having high time period, and carrier signal is high frequency signal and low time period. And this is the envelope of the amplitude modulated signal, you can see, right? So here you can see that the envelope, if you see, is having the sinusoidal behavior same as your message signal. And this we have seen in the simulation lab also, right? So this is your amplitude modulated signal. When the modulation index M is less than 1. Slowly, if you want to improve the modulation index, then what will happen? It will have this type of effect. Because the positive, when M is equal to 1, then it may have value +1 or -1, and accordingly, it may have value 0 also. So then it will touch at the envelope, you can see. And slowly, when we improve the modulation index value more than 1, then it will have this behavior. So you are already familiar with these things in your amplitude modulation section. This is basically DMPSC type of behavior, where you don't have carrier signal suppressed, and this is the pure amplitude modulated signal. Okay. So we want this signal, amplitude modulated signal. So this is the idea. And I would like to show the close view of this. And the amplitude modulation. Diagram is very important to evaluate the modulation index. You can have a snapshot of it.
Actually, it's not clear, sir.
Not getting?
No, sir, the picture is not clear, sir. Like we are not able to see the whole graph of it. Only
Are you
the
talking about this
zoom.
one?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay now? Wait a minute. Okay. Is it okay now? The simple sinusoidal signal, a carrier signal, and an amplitude modulated signal. Then this
Yes.
one is modulated one. Help you calculate the modulation rate. Don't worry, I will upload the manual. Okay, so don't worry. Setup, you can see we have the this is ACL01 kit. We are going to use this one to perform our experiment. Okay, this is the input source, the function generator. Okay, now previously we had the old function generator where we don't have this screen available with that. We only have the knobs and we have a digital display that shows the number and what should be the frequency and all those things. Now we have this new function generator. So when you will come to the campus, this one. So it is having the screen and it gives you the previously we were using CRO to see this input. We connect this one to the CRO to see the input. Okay, but now we have this new one in which we have the screen and we can see the behavior of the signal. Okay, so let's check what we have. So here I would like to show you a good display of this one. So we have the panel, right, to control the frequency and the magnitude. And if you want to be you want particular input to be stable, so for that we have knobs. So those things are written here. which knob is handling which particular activity. Okay, and this is the screen which is showing you the input. So you can see the graphical view shown here. Apart from that, here you can see that the values are also mentioned, right? Like frequency, you can see 120 kilohertz, right? And all those things are mentioned here, right? So this one is the master signal. Here you can see the specification, and here you can see the plot. Okay, the CRO plot. So please, I suggest you to have a screenshot of this one by one. I'll show you, because the manual copy I'll show you, I'll send you, but this it will be better. So please take a snapshot, 3 section. I'll show you section wise. So this is first snapshot. Please take for this VCO, and then this is the panel. Just take a snapshot of this also. And this is the screen section. In the screen, you can have this view, graphical view, and for the reading, okay. So you, I guess you can read it is 120 kilohertz. Okay, channel number 2, and the amplitude is 930.60 millivolt. Okay, channel 1 is off. See written here. TH1 off. It means what? It is a dual channel where we are right now taking input from channel number 2 and channel number 1 is off. It is what? It is the master signal MT. Okay, this is the master signal MT. So we have provided this as input to see this wire is coming here, right? And now from this particular we have this arrangement, right? This is the input we have taken from here. Input we have taken from here, right? It is going to this knob here. What is this? This you can see. Amplitude level. We have the knobs to vary the frequency and magnitude. Okay, because you want to generate signal of any frequency and magnitude as a master signal. So we have the flexibility to use. For this, we have these two knobs, right? Then, so this is about the master signal. Now for the carrier signal, yeah, 500 range. This second block I showing you there VCO. We have the jumper. So this particular section here, this one, this is your VCO section, voltage controlled oscillator. Here you can vary the again the frequency and the magnitude. Okay, and you can see this particular knob. This particular knob you can see here. The switch here we have the switch. This black one is the switch. So you can select 500 or 150 or 1500. Okay, 500 and 1500 carrier can be selected. Okay, so this is for the carrier signal. Just have to set that, and then these two things will come to this master signal and the carrier signal. These two things will come to this particular section. Okay, what is written here? It is, you can see it is written here, the balance modulator. I've shown you there in the diagram. This is the balance modulator. So I'll show you the setup diagram now. Please have a snapshot of it. Okay. Later when you will zoom, you will be able to see the things in a better way. Right. So this is your balance modulator. This is your balance modulator section. Okay. And the output of this one will be collected from here. The output of this thing will be collected from here. We'll collect the output and we'll see on the CRO. Next. So first of all, we'll check the carrier input. I've shown you the message input. I'll show you the carrier input. So see, this is the carrier we have collected from here, and this channel, yes, this you can see now. This is your carrier signal. Okay, please have a snapshot of this one and the specification. You can see it is now 412.8 kilohertz. 412.8 kilohertz, and amplitude is 1.37 volt. So here, as I told you in the previous lecture also, that amplitude is not going to affect much, like it is just for the scaling or descaling, but the frequency is very important in the modulation. So here, this is amplitude. I'm talking about amplitude of the carrier signal. Okay, amplitude of massive signal is important, but for the carrier signal, it is just a multiplication factor, multiplying factor. So frequency is 412.8 kilohertz. Now we'll see so we know the massive signal and the carrier signal. Now we see the modulated signal output. So now we have taken, as I told you, that we have to take output from here. So we have selected, and you can see so now see this is fixed, okay, and we are using this particular CRO to see the output. So this is your output, okay, when it is perfectly modulated. Now slowly so first case I have shown you there in the manual, it is about the perfect modulation, the very first one. When the modulation index is less than 1, m is less than 1, then we have this output here, you can see, right? So see in the on the axis, the center line, they are not touching each other, they are separated from each other. But slowly when we vary the modulation index, okay, here we can vary the modulation index. We have the provision here by the help of this knob, we can vary the modulation index. So slowly when we vary the modulation index, we can see that when the modulation index is greater than 1 or equal to 1, just equal to 1 at this moment, the two lines, the border lines, or we can say the envelope points, are touching each other. So this is the condition when modulation index equal to 1. Okay, and slowly when we again vary this one to increase the modulation index further, okay, so now the modulation index is greater than 1, and you can see that those two envelopes are actually crossing each other, and we have this behavior. And this is actually DSBSC signal. When we don't have the carrier signal, we have the mass signal and the carrier signal. So this is what is the product of the mass signal and the carrier signal, is the CT into MT. Now the mathematical formula have changed, and this is your over modulated amplitude modulated signal, over modulated amplitude modulated signal. Okay, so this is all about your amplitude modulation and DSBSC signal. Okay. Further, if you improve this one, then we'll have the SSBSC signal. But here we cannot see this one, because to see the DSBSC or SSBSC variation, that is the difference between the two, we should have a spectrum of those things, that is frequency domain description. But CRO shows you only the time domain view. So in the time domain, DSBSC and SSBSC both will have the same look. So that's why in the simulation lab we have seen these things using DSBSC using the frequency description. That is the spectrum we have used here. Okay. So that's all about the amplitude modulation experiment. If you have any query, please let me know. Anybody? Yes. So now I'll show you and will send you the manual also. Don't worry about that. I just want to know from you that if anybody is having any query, please let me know. Yes, you are not audible.
No, sir, no queries. Doubt.
Okay, please give me 2 minutes. Let me do some more changes here, and I'll show you. I'm going to mute myself for a minute, so please have patience.
and complete the lab journal. I will make a folder. Okay, उस folder में ही you will have to submit the folder. How to submit it? I will post what you are supposed to do. Any question is there? Harsh, hardware and software. First experiment. Okay, then I will make a share you a folder and you will have to submit it. I will give the deadline also. First you all complete the first experiment. So next I think first experiment का part B खत्म करना ही है, साथ में second experiment simulation में खत्म करना है. Second experiment. Try to complete that also. Because already third turn हमारा होने जा रहा है, third turn. So we are getting late.